So welcome everybody to ETHOnline judging day 2. No, this is day 3. I'm getting confused. Day 3 of judging. We've had an amazing month of hacking and learning. And if you hadn't seen the stats, we had over 700 hackers, 1,000 applications, 65 countries, 19 time zones. Huge event, and definitely with a global population of hackers, which is amazing to see. Like I said, 175 projects. They've worked together for 3 weeks and ended up submitting some pretty wide-ranging projects, everything from DeFi to personal tokens and everything in between. Today, we're going to get the chance to actually see what people have built. So the format for today, as you are all probably aware, but just a quick reminder, 4 minutes for video demo from each team, 4 minutes for questions from the judges or clarifications. And then we'll do a 10-minute break halfway just to give you a chance to stretch your legs or, get a glass of water, whatever you need to do. Another reminder for the criteria for what judges are actually looking into. These would be technicality, originality, practicality, meaning, how accessible it is for this project to actually be implemented, and then the UI, how people use it, and then the final thing is the wow factor, which is the wild card. We want to emphasize that it's not a competition. A lot of people, this might be their first event, so they're just dipping their toes into Ethereum and Web3, and they're here to learn. Not every project is necessarily becoming a business. So we just want to keep that in mind. And we're very happy to have projects that are, trying to pursue this after the event, but people that are here just to learn is totally fine as well. And the big thing is that hackers are here to get feedback from our wonderful judges. Speaking of, we have 3 excellent community members with us today. Peter Pan from 1KX, Linda G from Scalar Capital, and Fernando Martinelli from Balancer. So welcome, judges. Hope you're ready for this session, and let's move on to the first demo. I think the first team is already promoted. That would be James, and I'll let you take it away.
All right, thanks. Okay. Introducing Flavor, a spicy new twist on DeFi savings. The goal of Flavor is to provide the stability of dollar-pegged stablecoins, savings from your tokens earning a yield while they sit in your wallet, and a fun twist to make things a little more interesting. By combining stability, savings, and a fun twist, Flavor provides a simple, low-risk way to bet on your favorite assets. It does this with a daily contest based on tracking changes in cryptocurrency prices. The winning asset each day is the one with the largest price percentage increase. Flavor uses Pool Together's no-loss design, where only interest earned from deposited funds is used as prize rewards, and not the deposited funds themselves. Flavor replaces Pool Together's randomly chosen raffle with a contest decided by Chainlink price feed data for supported cryptocurrency assets. Using Flavor is simple. First, exchange USDC tokens for an equal amount of Flavor tokens. From the Flavor.finance website, first, unlock your wallet. Then select one of the supported cryptocurrency assets and complete a deposit of USDC in exchange for an equal number of Flavor tokens. When you win a daily Flavor contest, the balance of Flavor tokens in your wallet automatically increase. The increase will be the interest earned by all Flavor USDC deposits in the last day, split proportionally among you and the other participants who bet on the winning cryptocurrency. And finally, Flavor tokens can always be exchanged back for an equal amount of USDC. Withdrawing USDC is as easy as depositing USDC. Flavor tokens are always fully collateralized, and this means that one flavor token should always be worth about 1 USDC. Some next steps for Flavor include listing more crypto assets, as well as non-crypto assets to bet on. Anything with a price feed provided by an oracle can be supported, and this means it should be possible for Bitcoin and DeFi tokens to compete against Tesla and Apple shares, or any other type of asset. Other next steps include optimizing for decentralized exchanges like Uniswap and Balancer, so that it's easy to trade on any DeFi asset directly into Flavor tokens instead of USDC without worrying about slippage. We'll make use of arbitrage bots to help maintain Flavor's price peg, and Flavor token liquidity mining will be used to farm Flavor's governance token to encourage liquidity. This governance token will play a key role in converting Flavor into a decentralized protocol owned and operated by its community. You can now check out Flavor at Flavor.finance.
All right. I realized that I think the Meta Cartel, which Peter's involved with, I think the chili pepper might be one of your icons. Didn't realize that connection.
Copyright infringement.
I'm just going off of the analogy of like adding some spice. This is like, you know, a really great platform to like, you know, experiment with different other sources, if you will, right? I mean, you could use the interest for like, you know, allowing people to basically, you know, bet on, say, prediction markets, maybe, you know, no loss betting. You know, like this is one example where like you could kind of save up a whole month's worth of interest rate and allow people to kind of allocate it based on that. And this is just one example, right? So I generally really like the idea, and I think this could be a really great platform for a lot of creativity to kind of emerge from.
Yeah, absolutely. That's certainly the idea. And I sort of think of it as sort of a mashup between Pool Together, like Augur, or Polymarket, and something like Origin OUSD, where it's a stable coin that increases balance in your wallet.
Yeah, I think this is really cool and something that I would actually play with. It sounds really fun. So are the payouts daily? Sorry if I missed that.
Yeah, payouts are daily, although subject to change because of gas fees and so forth.
Yeah, I was going to say probably don't want daily payouts at this stage. And then also like, I don't know if the amounts are going to be large enough for people to get like super excited. So like maybe some version of accruing it later or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're going to want to look at the TVL and the number of crypto assets that we have. Right now, it's only 3. It's basically Bitcoin, Ether, and DeFi, like a DeFi index. Mm-hmm. And so the number of assets that we have and also the rate of payout is going to probably be a factor of how much volume there is.
In what ways do you see yourselves using AMMs like Balancer and Uniswap and others for the system?
Yeah, so I sort of touched on that in the video, but I think the idea is that people can go to Flavor.finance and get Flavor tokens there directly. But I think for a lot of people, once they know that these Flavor tokens exist, they're selling some other token. They go to Balancer and they say, I want to exchange, you know, my whatever other token directly to Flavor tokens. So Flavor tokens just becomes like a wrapper for a stable coin. So it's you know, earns savings automatically, and it's kind of has that fun element to it.
Another question, you said that each flavor should be worth about 1 USDC because it's always collateralized. Why is it about? Well, at least, or exactly, or at least?
Yeah,
maybe
so about because
USDC?
it might not, it's difficult to maintain that exact peg on, you know, Balancer, for example, but it should be very close to it.
Thank you.
All right. Any final questions? Sounds like the judges are satisfied. Thank you, James, for presenting, and I look forward to seeing what emoji you end up transitioning to.
Okay, well, I'll be in touch with Peter about the copyright case.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So next up is the Zenbit Protocol, and I'll let the next team take it away. We aren't able to hear, so maybe try it again without muting first, and then you can mute after if you'd like.
Sorry, I had my audio off.
Hi, this is the Zenbit Protocol. We are presenting for the ETHOnline 2020 hackathon. We are, I'm Abacuc Vera, and I work on the front end and the main concept.
My name is Mario Briseño. I work with the Solidity contract, with smart contract, and with the backend.
And we built a protocol prototype that digitizes digital skills as net rewards to boost financial inclusion in Mexican urban zones. So why we build it? Because in Mexico, 68% of Mexicans don't have a bank account, and plus 80% of people living in urban areas with internet access are excluded from digital economy because of lack of digital skills. So these are the main barriers for people to enter digital economy. We tend to reduce this gap by teaching Ethereum interactions with our MVP for speaking Spanish spoken users, where users receive digital skills and NFTs and fungible tokens as rewards. And the gain digital skills NFTs are required to access the following task. So the live demo.
Once a user has been logged in the application, he has to watch this video. Of course, there's a lot of work needed in the landing page in order to make it more user-friendly, because now at the moment we are only trying to demonstrate this MVP. Sorry. So once the user has watched every single video, he has to complete these tasks in order to him become familiarized with the functions he can do in a smart contract or a wallet. So first, in order to complete this task and the user to win a certificate, a digital skill certificate, plus a monetary reward, he has to paste his public key, the one he authorized in the wallet, and click here in the button which says get certificate.
After watching this demo, we will explain how it's made. This is an MVP for a proof of concept that we can digitize the digital skills of our users. With 3 tasks for developing these digital skills, we have used an RC1155 contract to create the NFTs and the fungible tokens, which are minted after the users complete the task. So in the backend, JavaScript, it's a JavaScript with React and MetaMask integrations. So what you can find the live demo on our site, zenbit.city. And well, our roadmap from now is to, well, it's necessary to have a front end and user experience overhauling in order to have a more friendly interaction. And further, we want to add tasks for DeFi and governance digital skills, NFTs, as well as an RC20 for an Zenbit token for liquidity and governance interactions, and test with the real world interactions and assets in urban environments. Once we get to this point, probably it's time to go to mainnet and start to digitize value on cities. Thank you for your attention. You can find the documentation of the project in docs.zenbit.city, and our social media are at ZenbitMX. So visit us and know more about this project. Thank you for your attention.
I like that you're focusing on Mexican urban zones. That's an area that I don't feel like a lot of people have been spending a lot of time building. So I'm really excited to see that. And then curious as to like, what do the NFTs like actually look like? And then also you mentioned ZNBT, and like, what is that used for? So trying to understand like what people get from this.
So we want to take advantage of the 1155 contract capabilities to make a batch of a non-fungible token and a fungible token. So the certificate, it's a non-fungible token that gives the user that digital skill that they can use a product or an interaction, like in the example, it's like use their public keys. So in the other part, in Mexico, it's the lack of access to bank accounts make an interesting thing to give a fungible reward in order to start to interact with digital assets and get more familiarized with the environment and how interactions are with MetaMask and all the things users need to know first to interact with the more complex protocols.
Cool. Thanks.
Have you thought much about how you would onboard users into like, I guess, in terms of key management? Because you mentioned MetaMask just then, but like, have you thought about, integrating things such as like burner wallets that allow you to kind of like hold these like NFTs temporarily before someone sets up a full account?
Well, it's supposed to be permanently. Some basic interactions. I think the user must the first time is the most difficult time to interact with these things. But other that require digital skills that get updated, like coding or other implementation. Probably the NFT will require to get an expiration date or a validation date until the user get updated on that part, and then again start to use the service in order to avoid mistakes and I don't know loss of capital that the users actually don't want, and the ignorance to know how it works probably is the main case for most users.
Great idea, though. Love it.
Quick question, like, do you see, what ways do you see those NFTs being valuable and useful? Like ideas for the future?
Well, I think in Mexico, the lack of knowledge on digital skills could give a reference to users how they can evolve to interact, like I don't know, compounding interest products like Balancer or other more complex user interactions. But my experience with people, it's like they lack a lot of digital skills. The barrier, the first barrier, it's I mean, it's difficult to people understand what they are doing, and I think this part could be a great great moment to implement, because well, my country is on the verge, like the cases on in Argentina or Venezuela, and I think like preventing these scenarios and have education that can actually get user access to other services or more complex services, I think could be a good point to start.
Thank you.
I think that's a great summary, right where we can end it. Thank you for presenting.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Next up is llama.community. You may not have shared your sound. Do you want to try that again?
Sure.
I built llama.community, which is a tool to manage your crypto community treasury. I help manage the treasury for a crypto community that I'm involved with, and I've found the treasury management and budget tracking process pretty cumbersome. The first step it involves is the community proposing things and voting on those proposals on Snapshot. When a proposal gets passed, then the treasurer and the signers of the multi-sig wallet then execute on those proposals. And finally, the treasurer updates the budget based on what is spent from the wallet, typically on a spreadsheet. I'm trying to make this workflow easier, making it easy for a treasurer or someone else from the community to set a budget for the community treasury, to track inflows and outflows, and to maintain the community's runway. What I've built is a version 1. I have a lot more to do, and I would look at what I've built as a very initial version of what I plan to do. So now if I go to llama.community, I'm first going to enter some inflows that this community treasury is going to get. So now we have this community getting 13,000 tokens of income in October 2020. I'll now enter some expenses. We have 8,000 tokens worth of expenses, which is 62% of the income coming in October. And so we're left with 5,000 tokens at the end of October. Now I'll talk about what I plan to do, which is in the near term, make sure the user can enter their Ethereum address and automatically track inflows and outflows, as well as tag certain expenses based on what they want to be represented in the budget, and then also assess their projected runway for the community treasury. Over a longer period of time, I would like to add an option for users to make payments via Sablia and also earn yield from the token balance in the treasury.
First, I love this project because I would use it for like half the DAOs I'm part of. And, you know, so like, I think there's a few tweaks I'd definitely request as a potential user, right? Like maybe, you know, managing the treasury in ETH, you know, obviously, I guess tracking like proposals and the, I guess even stuff such as like, when we make proposals, right, it's like it's often requested in USD terms, even though the actual amount is in ETH, and just like, yeah, I think there's like a lot. This is a big problem space for like DAOs. So like I recommend just like further talking to more DAOs, talking to more coordinators. So yeah, I think it's a big problem.
Great, thank you. By the way, I can't share my video. I think the host has disabled that, but yeah, thanks for the feedback. I agree with that.
Yeah, I also really love it. I mean, DAOs are obviously going to be huge and just more frequent, and people are going to be having to manage their treasuries. So this is a very useful tool for them. I completely agree. Like having it in ETH obviously would be really helpful, but I know that that is a future integration. And then when you like start having the like enablement of payments, it could be interesting to have some sort of like system where people can like permission like check that this is like a good payment or something. Like I know there's like in these kind of like traditional world systems that there's a lot of like auditing and permission process. So that could be interesting in the future. So it's not just like one person controlling all the funds.
Side note, sorry, one idea came about, which is like most DAOs always have like kind of like a hot wallet, a side wallet multi-sig, if you will, right? Where like it's, DAOs access funds very for quick use, right? And this could be, I could definitely see a part of this where like, you deploy a Gnosis multi-sig as, we're sharing the same interface, right? And you can kind of see like hot wallet usage as well and who's managing that too. So idea.
Do you see that as a standalone product or more of an app that could be used inside Aragon or Gnosis Safe? And why? Curious.
I'm not sure yet. My initial thought is a standalone app that I guess communities can sort of just input their budget into this and sort of this be the place that they track what's going on. But I do think there are limitations of doing that because it's harder to enable payments and other things if you don't say connected to like a wallet via Gnosis. So I'm not sure. I don't know if you have thoughts on what you think is advisable.
Yeah, my feeling is that there's so many things around this idea. For example, controlling who can spend the money and kind of connecting that to the actual funds, that I think it would probably make more sense to use existing infrastructure and build on top of that than kind of creating the whole thing from scratch. So that's my feeling, but of course it's just my opinion.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Maybe like with Fernando's comment, I feel so like building these UIs for these DAOs like actually pretty hard and complicated by themselves, and they actually all suck right now. So like like even Aragon, they're doing Aragon SDK to build to allow it to build like Aragon interfaces very easily, Pokemon for Molochs. So I think the interface like area for DAOs is actually wide open, right, for someone to do it really well.
All right, very cool. Looking forward to see where this goes after the hackathon. Do you plan on continuing to build it?
Yeah, I do. I'm actually, still at the very early stages of learning how to build things. So, yeah, so I'm excited to continue to work on this as sort of a longer term project.
Very cool. Yeah, you should connect with Peter after this. They're running a sort of an incubator grants thing after the hackathon. So definitely talk to him. Great. We're going to move on to the next project, which is CoinChat. I'm going to play the video for them. I just want to make sure they're all here and ready to go. Can I get a confirmation from the team? Agnell or Dominic? Okay, yes, in the chat. Sounds good.
Welcome to the demo. It is hosted at coinchat.searchy.online. So now I'm entering the secret and logging in with MetaMask. It takes few seconds to log in. This is the first user. I'm going to the second user to copy his address, and I'm pasting his address, and I'm typing the message to send. Along with the message, I can also add some link from textile bucket. So I'm uploading some file to textile bucket, copying the link and pasting it here. I can also send Ether along with the message. So I already sent Ether, so I'm just pasting the transaction hash and I'm sending the message. The second user has received the message and I'm replying back to the first user. And I've already again sent the Ether, so I'm just pasting the transaction hash. So yeah, the first user has also received the message. The main advantage of this is that you can like filter messages based on ETH. So you can avoid spam messages from the ETH. If someone has paid ETH for sending a message, the ETH as an Ether or any other cryptocurrency, ERC22 cryptocurrency, it's less likely. It's more likely to be a real valued message. Yeah, so that's the main feature of this.
I think the whole ETH filter feature is really interesting for Inbox, so you can see like what's kind of higher signal. But how do you ensure like people are reading this and actually like not just getting paid to receive messages? Because I know that like Earn.com, like they had a very similar thing in the early days, and like they would make you do like a task at the end of it. Like, yeah, how do you ensure, like, do people have profiles where they're saying like, hey, I'm actually actively reading this? Or like, I guess, how do you like connect people who are using this feature and who you'll make sure to actually read this message?
Yeah, so like to identify the real user, one thing which we can do is we can like authenticate the user by phone ID or email ID, or can provide a NFT token for it. So this way we know that okay, the identity of the user is we get an identity and we get an NFT token. So we read the NFT token, so we know that that's the real user.
I know it's a little hard to hear you. Maybe your headphones are not plugged in all the way, but there's some static coming through.
Okay. I think there's some signal issue here.
Yeah.
I'll try to be loud. So one thing is we can identify user just like Gmail does with the email login and phone verification, and provide an NFT token after we verify the user. And so there's some credibility. That is one thing. Another thing is we can use PageRank like algorithm. So first we can identify a credible user, and based on that, if he rates the user, and then based on that we build an algorithm. So through weights and cracks, so we can identify like who's like a more credible person. So if a credible person is more likely to read a message, it's not going to be a bot. So that way we had planned.
Okay, so to summarize, I think what you said was you can issue an NFT to people who have signed up, and then you can also run something like PageRank over the social graph of people who have actually signed up to give people higher trust scores.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to clarify.
Cool, thank you.
I think I will type it in the chat box.
Okay, perfect.
One idea.
Request? Sorry.
Go on, Fernando.
Go ahead. Real quick, does the user have to enter their private keys? You said like the secret. Is that like the 12-word mnemonic or secret? Or
No.
Do they have to type their? No.
it is the secret is just like it can be a secret can be empty also. So it's like through usual MetaMask authentication, and based on my Ethereum address, we generate a new address, a new public key private key pair. It's not Ethereum; it's just a public key private key pair. If there's a secret, it adds like anonymity to the Ethereum address, so we don't know that this Ethereum address is like associated with this public key private key pair. So there's no more anonymity on top of Ethereum address.
It's any random pair, public, private, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Not fully random based on the Ethereum address and the secret. It's deterministic from the Ethereum address and the secret. For the same secret and same Ethereum address, the public key private key pair is same.
Got it. Thank you. Peter, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So you could also just like figure out how to integrate with like a bridge to do like Telegram notifications. That's one other option. I think you also mentioned chatbots.
Yeah, Agnel, it sounds like your audio has cut out, so maybe answer that in the chat. But Peter was suggesting to look up Abridged. I think their URL is abridged.io.
Yeah.
That might be another solution for you to integrate. I think that might be time for the session. So if there are any final comments for the team. If not, I want to thank Agnel and Dominic for presenting. Sorry about the audio issues. Next up is, sorry, let me double check which one is next. Stake Legends.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me well? Okay, cool. I'm going to play the video. If there's any trouble with the sound, please let me know. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this video. I'm going to show you my project that I've worked on for ETHOnline called Stake Legends. Stake Legends is a protocol that allows users to participate in a real-world video gaming competition. For anyone who doesn't know Apex Legends, it's an online multiplayer Hunger Games on the PS4. I'm going to present you the basic flow and interaction with the protocol through the interface. As with any DApp, you need to connect with MetaMask or any wallet, but right now only MetaMask is supported. First, every participant needs to claim their PSN username. Just put your ETH address in your PS4 profile bio and call the function claim username on the contract to verify your identity. Then everybody stakes a fixed amount of ETH on the Aave through the contract and then plays Apex Legends on PS4 till the end of the season. The top players with the best rankings win all the interests of the other participants. The initial stake is then redistributed to everyone, so it's an entirely no-loss game. Now, we can go behind the scenes a little bit. How is it made? The protocol uses Aave to stake funds of participants in the lending pool. It sort of acts as a proxy. Real-world data retrieval is done with Chainlink. A custom oracle was built to verify any address username pair and to compute Apex Legends player rankings relative to the contract participants. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the project. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thanks, ETHOnline, and happy gaming! All right, so one thing I forgot to add in the video was the next steps. So right now, Apex Legends is the only game supported, but I really want, if we're going to move forward, to move with, custom oracles for, I don't know, every big game like Overwatch of this or this kind of thing. Yeah, and maybe for the verification part, also add NFTs to verify that the user is the owner of the username.
This is cool. Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a very popular concept in terms of people having tournaments and getting paid out in ETH. How frequent are the tournaments? And then also, are you able to do like private ones, or is it just like a free for all, like regardless of rank?
Yeah, so right now the thing is that I built a custom oracle to fetch the rankings directly from the real world Apex season. Apex seasons are 3 to 4 months long, so it's around 4 seasons every year. So right now it's all real world. Anybody, literally anyone who plays on the PS4 can join in and be in the pool and earn other people's interests.
Cool.
That's really
It's
cool.
like video game mining.
Oh, sorry.
It's like I can imagine games where like they set this. I can imagine crypto native games like Axie Infinity where they set this up for their own players, and it's like a way for them to mine, right? Like
yeah, I see.
Reward of some sorts, maybe like SLP tokens, right, or whatever, like the in-game currency has.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I really want to move.
Really, yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, second.
Oh, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
And I was just curious. So you said you created this oracle, but it also uses Chainlink. How does that work exactly, and how trustless is that, and how kind of gameable? Maybe you just create a user and then you want to steal everyone's interest, and you say you were the best even though you weren't. How does that work?
Yes. So when I say it uses Chainlink, it doesn't use the price feeds that are built in the protocol. It uses a custom job, so kind of HTTP requests to a custom built oracle. This oracle in turns uses the official, the unofficial PSN API to retrieve the usernames, and the Apex Legends API to retrieve the rankings. So right now the API is hosted on my personal domain, so it's not fully decentralized, but we could imagine hosting it on some kind of serverless, decentralized stack with even an ENS domain name. This would solve most of the problems.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Anybody plays Apex before?
I have not, but I could see this. Yeah, I could see this idea being super powerful. So I like the idea.
Yeah. Are you gonna move on with this and kind of look for funding or a team? Are you alone?
Yeah. So that's the thing. To be honest, I worked alone during this hackathon, and I think it's quite hard to continue like this. I would kind of like maybe a co-founder, and maybe raise some funds after that to really extend to a more decentralized solution, and also extend to other games like Overwatch, CS:GO, whatever. One thing I noticed. Do I still have a little bit of time?
Yep. A few seconds.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing I noticed is you can bet on protocols for esports, but it's only on external people, so you can't bet on yourself. So this is why I wanted to bring to the ecosystem. Thank you.
Really cool.
Oh.
Thanks.
Congrats.
Yeah, definitely, like Peter suggested, try and look into some of the crypto native games. It might yield some interesting outcomes, and definitely it will be easier to integrate their community. Their communities might even be more receptive to something like this.
Yeah, I'd love to look into that.
Traditional.
Yeah.
Great.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your feedback.
Of course. All right, I'm going to get the next video queued up. Give me 1 second. The next team is Unite.community. So, sorry, 1 second.
Social tokens have been blowing up lately, and Brian Flynn, who has his own social token, recently tweeted a list of questions. A big one was, what are the best ways to do social token distribution? Our team was thinking about the space, so I jumped in with the idea of giving away social tokens in exchange for engagement, and Alex Masmej, who tokenized himself, replied saying that he thinks it's an amazing idea. The next day, he tried my suggestion with a tweet saying he's giving away $5 in Alex tokens to the first 100 people who retweet. He got the retweets and in 17 minutes grew the number of token holders by 25%. He added that the Twitter algo stopped him from sending DMs to the winners and he had to manually do the distribution in phases. Which brings us to Unite, a tool to automatically distribute tokens to your community and essentially automate the slow manual process that Alex Masmej had to go through with his experiment to distribute social tokens. It works like this. First, you connect your wallet and log in with MetaMask. Then you enter your Twitter handle and verify your Twitter account by signing a public tweet. Then you complete verification and land on our homepage where Alex Masmej would create his first campaign. We want to offer many campaign types, including retrospective airdrops in different combinations, but for now we're implementing rewards for retweets. You begin by entering the campaign details, the ERC20 token address, the tweet URL, which in this case we're replicating the tweet that Alex did. And so we enter the tweet URL, we enter the number of people to reward, we enter the number of tokens per reward, and we click Create Campaign and Send Tokens to Reward Pool, which opens a MetaMask transaction to first allow us access to manage his Alex tokens, and second, to send the tokens for the reward to our reward pool contract. We see that the transaction gets confirmed, and he sees his campaign on the homepage. A few moments later, Alice sees Alex's tweet and retweets. She then goes to Unite.community to claim her tokens. Similar to Alex, she has to connect her MetaMask and log in. She also has to verify her account. So she enters her Twitter handle, signs a public tweet to verify, and completes verification. In the background, our Twitter bot has seen that she's earned the rewards and they're visible on the homepage, which she can withdraw by confirming a MetaMask transaction. Now her withdrawal is complete and her Alex tokens are in her wallet. She goes to his website and sees that she can join an exclusive chat on Telegram because she holds Alex tokens. She goes through a process to connect her MetaMask and check that she holds the tokens, and instantly gets access to Alex's private Telegram group. Meanwhile, Alex can see the progress and that the tokens have been claimed. So we were testing our dApp today, and while we were testing it, something interesting happened. People saw our verification tweets and started to use Unite, including Coin Artist, who has her own social token and 37,000 Twitter followers. So we started speaking to some of these users, many of whom have their own social tokens already and are very excited to use Unite to automatically distribute tokens to their communities. And the users on our waitlist have more than 100,000 Twitter followers combined. We're really grateful for all the help from the sponsors. We used Pocket Network to fetch token data from the blockchain and did a lot of work towards using Chainlink for our bot and Biconomy to subsidize gas for frictionless withdrawals. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Biconomy or Chainlink adapters working in time, but are in touch with the teams and are almost there. Finally, we want to say thank you to the organizers and judges. We had a great time working on the hackathon and really look forward to your questions.
This is awesome. So I think social tokens are going to be huge, and you definitely addressed a problem that people have. And I like the presentation style; it was awesome. One thing though is that Twitter is full of bots, and like when you incentivize people to make money, like they're gonna just come out running. And so, is there a way that like the creator can like look at accounts and like flag if something's a bot and prevent them from claiming, or is there some way of managing that kind of claim process?
Hi, Linda. Yeah, that's a great question. So we've been speaking to the Bright ID guys, and that's one possible solution to this. We also have a capture on the landing page that we haven't deployed yet, but that's another way to try to address bots. My thinking is it's kind of like trying to secure your house. Like you can make the wall higher, you can add a fancy alarm system, but if someone wants to game it, they're going to try to figure out a way to do that. But yeah, I think having the creator being able to sort of interact with the rewards is a great idea. But I mean, yeah, that's one of the big sort of questions that we're trying to solve, and something we were hoping to get judge feedback on as well.
Yeah, I love this, and like if you want to like DM me or something, I'm happy to like brainstorm. I think it's really cool, and it's going to be a quite popular use case.
Awesome, will do.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Another other use cases you can solve for maybe like using Bioconomy to like, or at least a bot to almost like send mass send NFTs. So like this is just a problem in general of NFTs. It's like there's no tool out there where you can like mass send them easily, right? So like, you know, for previous events, you know, I mean, there's like previous events I've like copy and pasted like a bunch, but I guess POAP, like basically generate NFT user side, but what if you don't want to do that? So there's like, yeah, this is like, I could imagine you automating a lot of this stuff way perhaps as well.
Yeah, we actually wanted to apply for the Untitled NFT Hackathon as well, but we're also submitting for Seed Club, and it's been a really busy 2 weeks, so I don't know if we're going to make it. But yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, our thinking with distribution generally is it should be pull instead of push. So rather than you having to go and do a bunch of DMs, like a person should come to you and claim that, you know, like a Merkle drop sort of idea.
Have you considered other social networks or other types of channels where people could verify their messages?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're focusing on Twitter for now because, you know, crypto Twitter is all on Twitter. But our roadmap is basically to add more campaign types on Twitter and then expand to other social networks. So you might have a reward where you need to follow on Instagram and follow on Twitter and do something else in order to get tokens. And the verification part, yeah, I mean, that could happen across those different platforms too. That's something we're still trying to work out. But yeah, it's a great idea. I mean, I should say the other thing on our roadmap to consider is not only doing distribution, but being full stack social tokens. So allowing people to issue tokens and also be the place where they're redeemed. So, you know, you might burn 50 tokens in exchange for a 1-minute video call with someone. You know, it would be weird if you paid $100 to have like a 5-minute video call with someone, but if you earned some tokens and then spent those, I think that would be cool. So yeah, we want to make it full stack, and that's the other thing that we're looking at, but kind of scared of the SEC and waiting to clear up some of the legal questions on issuance.
Congrats, really cool idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, you already hit the two things I was going to suggest, which is the Bright ID and having a captcha on the page. Sorry, did I jump over somebody?
Oh no, I was just going to add something else.
Go ahead.
It might be worth looking at councils, C and SL, which Ruben it had created, and one council token you can redeem 1 hour of his time, and he was a lawyer at Coinbase, so he like already did the regulatory due diligence on that. So it could be worth like reaching out to him or just assuming that like you can issue tokens that are worth your time, and that's not like an SEC concern.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We actually already bought a Ross Campbell legal engineering token and had a call with him. And also we're like dog fooding ourselves on social tokens. We also bought a boy token, going to get him to help with design. Oh, cool. And maybe get Amin to tweet it out when we're ready. But yeah, we did look at Ruben's token, and yeah, hopefully going to get his input as well.
Cool, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll just echo what everybody's saying. This is a really great idea, and I was thinking that this would be a perfect. I could use this for one of my personal projects, so maybe I'll reach out. Great job, guys.
Do.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, next up is Oligo, and I think we will take a break after this one. Let's see, we have 15. So yeah, we'll take the break after this project. I'll let Max start.
Hello everyone, welcome to our short showcase of our project Oligo. Oligo allows the buying and selling of voting rights and governance token. It does this using two pools. On the left side, you can see the pool with the voting token. Here you can see various stats such as how big is the pool currently in relation to the total supply of the voting token, or how many tokens you yourself have deposited, how many % you have, etc. In the middle, you can see the current proposal being voted on. Here, you can see the current votes already being cast, and this is the size of the current pool. Those votes are not being cast yet. They're only being cast at the end of the voting period. Here you can see the current expected outcome for the voting, and here you can see the expected outcome for after the pool votes. So you can see there's quite a drastic shift in the expected outcome. How the pool votes gets decided by the pool on the right. Here you can see the current relation of yes to no votes. These votes get decided by how much money you put into the buying pool. So 1 DAI equals 1 vote. Whichever side has more money basically decides which way the pool will vote. So here you can see currently the most votes vote no. So the pool will vote no. After the vote gets cast, the winning side pays their money to the voting pool. And if you're in the voting pool, you get a percentage of the total amount paid out. So right now I would get 10% of 200 DAI, which would be 20 DAI. We can create a pool for basically every governance token. For example, here you can see Uni. We also have an example for Compound, which looks quite different currently. As you can see, I didn't put any votes in, and it's currently voting yes. Also, the pool is much bigger. We mainly built this project to show the dangers of the current governance mechanisms, which are basically oligarchies. So we want to encourage the community to build something better. And until then, you can farm your votes if you're too lazy to vote. Thank you very much. Hey.
Very smart.
Thank you.
I like the twist that it's like this is purely a means to, you know, get protocols to reimagine, you know, and improve their governance and to move away from this oligopoly. Very cheeky. I like it.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I was like, at first I was like, I have a billion questions about this monetization of voting rights, and but I like that twist at the end, and I think that's really creative.
Yeah, I mean, it should be usable. So it should be designed in a good way and usable in a good way. Otherwise, it wouldn't really threaten the current model. But the idea is to make it really public, because I believe like behind closed doors, something like this probably already happens. I don't know, in the future, maybe. So making it visible and showing that it's actually a real danger is, I think, very important.
What are the next steps, Max, for this project?
Yeah, the next steps is, of course, mainnet first. And then I would like to, until then, we still need to change quite a few things. So right now you actually deposit the token, but I would like to move to delegation. For example, Uni, I think, supports delegation. So to make it safer for the vote holder so that the money doesn't get locked up. And after this, of course, adding more token, like Maker or something. Uni and Compound is basically the same from the mechanism, so it was quite easy to do both. But in the future, I would like to add more.
Sorry if I missed this, but was there somewhere in the interface where you could actually say how much you were going to pay for a vote? Like I wasn't sure like how that market price gets determined.
Yeah, market price is a very interesting question we ask ourselves. So we can't really decide a price. So the idea is you put as much money as you want into the pool. And let's say in the example, we had like 104 and 200 against. So I could deposit 101, and then it would be 201 for and 200 against. And then the for side would win because it's bigger than the against side. So through that, you kind of get a price feed. If it's very uninteresting, then probably there's just maybe, I don't know, 1 DAI in there for, and no one buys against tokens. So we try to copy the idea of Uniswap with the pools, so we don't have like an eBay for votes, because that I think would be very uninteresting.
Yeah, I was just going to say this. I think one of the first experiments around this was from Mariano Conti last year. He had a project, a little experiment he did called Sellout DAO, where he sold, if you're familiar with it, or for anybody on the call, he sold, I think it was voting rights for Moloch. And it was one of the first ones I remember. Maybe there are others, but I linked it in the chat if anybody's curious. It's a cool concept. And I think
I'll look at it.
Yeah, his major takeaway is like, we need to enable this bribery now because it's going to happen regardless.
Yep.
Very cool project though. Any other questions? Okay, great. Great job, Max.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up we will have the 10-minute break. So take some time, turn off your video and audio, and maybe we'll see the sun when we get back from Peter.
Fernando, we're having a 10-minute break.
Thanks. I just cut off for some reason.
Sorry.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries.
I don't see any sun, Peter.
No, it's like it's still, like 4:52 a.m. So I think sunrise is 6 a.m.
Jeez.
Give it a bit more. Maybe we will finish the session, finish judging before the sunrise.
Yeah, I'm just getting a little nervous because we're halfway and I don't see.
I know you don't get to see the sunrise.
You don't normally wake up this early, do you?
Oh no, I sleep at 7 or 8 a.m. So.
Wow.
So you're normally okay. That kind of.
I wake up in the afternoon. Yeah.
Okay. You're on like in a completely different time zone, basically.
I don't really explain I'm in Sydney. I just say I'm Berlin time zones. And
okay, sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whatever works for you. And we're obviously happy to have you awake for this. All right. Looks like everybody's back. Let me just get a confirmation from Mix. Mix, are you ready to go?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. You can start when you're ready.
Cool. Were you guys gonna play the video or?
In my notes, I just have that you're talking live over it, but I can play the video for you if you'd like.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
All right, let me pull it up. Okay, here we go. The notes say that you're talking live over.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I made a mix, which is a prediction market. So it can really be used for anything, but it's built on top of the Gnosis conditional tokens. So this is for the demo, I did one for the World Series. So you want to set it enough time in advance so that they can arbitrate it and decide who actually won the World Series. So there's something that's going on now, but at the time it was even series, so I had set it to 50-50 odds, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, and you can also do multiple options or custom probabilities for this. And then I had also have an example that I'll show when we're done with this, that's using it for kind of a voting contest of video of the year. So, but for this one, once you set the probabilities and outcomes, then you have to fund the market, and then these conditional tokens are issued and people can purchase them on either side. So if you thought TwentyPay would win, you'd purchase that token, and then that actually can affect the probabilities over time or how these tokens trade. So yeah, one thing we wanted to add for this was being able to batch the transactions with something like Biconomy, as well as also doing like a NFT for the prizes as well. Okay. Yeah, so we can actually do the screen share now of the other project, or just like the other kind of contest that I thought was like a little bit more novel for the prediction market.
Are you going to share that video?
Yeah, I had to wait for that to finish.
Go ahead.
So this one was actually for like a video of the year. So I did it for these artists. And then each one has a video that corresponds to it. And then for the voting, I had actually wanted to use Pool Together to create the voting mechanism based on like how big the prize becomes based on how much like tokens are deposited. And then that way it's also something that's like secure and people can get their funds, and it has this like ticket mechanism. So for one artist, the baby, so for like his video was the rock star, and so then people would be able to vote on that for it, which would goes to this Pool Together. It's just here. And then people can select, these would be the terms on it. So it's set to the end of the year and then has a symbol and its own ERC20 token. And then the baby would be like the artist that's like behind it. And then you can buy tickets for it from there. And then one thing we had actually also explored as part of the hackathon was creating like synthetics then for the artists. So we built that on UMA, but we didn't really get to finish it out to the end. So, but it was using their like EMP tools. Yeah, but we don't need to go through it the whole way, but this was part of it.
Great. Do you want to move into Q&A now?
Yeah, we can take questions.
I'm just trying to understand the Pool Together and Gnosis part. So were they two separate projects that you were building, or is it that there's a prediction market and then the funds go into Pool Together? Like, I'm trying to understand how those interact with each other.
Yeah, so we had actually wanted to do the Pool Together. So the Pool Together was the voting mechanism for the contest. And then that's how that would be decided. So like there's like a prediction market of like who will win that people can like bet on who will win. And then there's a voting mechanism of who actually wins.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
So that's what Pool Together was used for, as like who has the biggest pool or biggest prize.
Cool, thanks.
This could do really well for like XXL freshman of the year, like sort of stuff. It's like everyone's betting on like who's going to be the freshman anyways, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of like debate about like who gets included and who's not, and then like who actually is the best of that, or who's trash.
Yeah, the worst cipher, like Pedra, like, or Lil Mosey, like memes about it anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the comments actually are built into it, so it's all decentralized, so it's free range.
What are the next steps?
So next steps, I actually kind of wanted to do a live run of it. Like for this, I thought it was like something that was contained enough, like people want to debate it, you can have difference of opinion, but it was to actually do the pools for the artists, and then actually be able to make their like synthetic tokens that could like have some sort of like longer term demand after. But I thought that the interesting thing was using Pool Together as like a voting mechanism, as like a way to like collect interest, as opposed to just having like things where like people can just like either buy it outright or like kind of like gamify it. This was something that was like a little bit harder to manipulate, right? So you actually need to put funds in and hold it to like see the outcome, and like obviously more people can come in, but it's not something where like, anybody can just make accounts and spam it and just like vote it, like swing it like that. So. Yeah, thanks guys, and like really, there's really interesting protocols to work with, so it was a good time.
Great job.
Well, thanks.
How far out do you think your UMA integration would be? Like, was it part of the way there, or do you think it would take? Like, how much work do you think?
It was like part of the way there. So like, so like it was really kind of figuring out just what the mechanics were, but I kind of actually wanted to use their UUSD as like kind of like underlying tokens that back the artist tokens and like the video tokens too, potentially. So like it was like partway done, but I wanted to test that out before releasing it to mainnet.
Yeah, it seems like every time we see a concept like this, it's getting closer and closer to reality. And like Peter said, there's a huge demand, or maybe not demand. People don't know that they want this yet, but they will once a concept like this is live. It's a really powerful idea. Like prediction markets for contests with public figures, it's going to be very, very huge, I think. So great job.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, the next team is Blockhead. I'll let Daryl start it off.
Give me 1 second. I'm starting the video.
Is there supposed to be audio here?
Yes, can you not hear it?
Yeah, why don't you try it again with make sure that the box is checked for share computer sound.
Welcome to Blockhead, a decentralized wallet manager, trading interface, and blockchain explorer. Blockhead aims to provide a comprehensive, provider-agnostic interface that allows you to perform common blockchain-related activities in a fun, flexible, and transparent way. Let's start with the portfolio screen. Here you can add your wallet address to your portfolio by pasting your address or typing a name from ENS. Wallet provider like MetaMask or Portis, you can connect it on the right, like so. In the future, you'll be able to simply drag this wallet to your portfolio and aggregated statistics will automatically be calculated for you. Portfolios you create here on the left are automatically saved in your browser. So even if you refresh the page, they'll remain there. Next, let's look at the Explorer. Clicking on an address or ENS name from your portfolio will take you to the Explorer view. So there's no need to switch back and forth. Currently, the Explorer's ENS names, powered by the ENS subgraph hosted on the graph, as plain Ethereum addresses and Ethereum transactions. Notice these two drop-downs up the bottom of the screen. When possible, Blockhead will fetch data using the blockchain provider and price oracle that you set here. So you get to choose where your data comes from. Support for other networks and assets to make this Explorer as informative as possible. Finally, let's look at the trading view. Blockhead helpfully organizes many popular trading options in one place so you can make an informed decision. So far, I've integrated Vega, a fully automated, decentralized derivatives exchange. Here's a live view of all the trades that are taking place. And we can slow it down a bit more clearly. In the future, I hope to integrate Blockhead providers and data products blockchains to give users the ability identity circle or ceramic, and DeFi approachable and more user-friendly through Blockhead's unified interface. Thanks for your support.
Hey, judges.
Hey, this is neat, and it's cool that you built this all during a hackathon. And I like that you get to choose your price feed. I thought that was a creative feature. Yeah. I guess what was the most difficult part about building this?
Definitely, it's a huge software engineering exercise to integrate all these different APIs, and they all have different ways of fetching data and doing all that. And another technical issue I ran into is that the web framework I'm using, which is Saber, built on Svelte, it doesn't support many browser-related variables in the libraries. Like if the library references window or document, the server-side rendering will completely fail. So I had to have a workaround for that.
Well.
Yeah, it's a pretty wide scope in terms of what you're trying to build. It's a big project. Have you thought of any areas that you might want to double down on or focus specifically on?
There are two things I want to double down on. One is that it's a fully decentralized interface. So ideally, after I'm done, you would end up with a static interface, and you could upload it to IPFS, for example, and anyone could access it, and it would be uncensorable and all of those decentralized features. And the second one is I would want to build in a visualization. So my actual thought for this, this was my original project idea, and I didn't get to implement this, but it's the idea of a metaverse built on the blockchain. So every blockchain, such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, could be like a floating island in this universe, and it moves up and down based on the price of the asset. And if you own an address if you own an address holding that asset, then you would own a piece of land on that island, and it could go from there. There could be a lot of trading visualization going on, moving between islands and so forth. And I think that would be very engaging.
Interesting. Yeah, I actually really like the visualization you built. I felt like that would have been a really cool way to just visualize, Uniswap trades, in a real-time fashion, the first hour pool, to whatever, you watch everything go, and it's chaos.
Yeah.
But yeah,
sure.
Good job.
Thank you. Any other questions?
What do you think are the main advantages over Zerion and Zapper and other such platforms?
For sure. I thought of that. So the last I checked, all these different services, My Ether wallet, Zerion, you can only log in with one wallet at a time. And I think we've all had that problem where we're using all these services and we have all these MetaMask wallets littered everywhere, and they're, your funds are kind of scattered across different places, and you want to see them all in one place. So if you saw on the portfolio screen, you can actually connect multiple wallets at the same time, and it will aggregate them for you. So that's the use case there.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah, I really appreciate how polished it is. It definitely seems like you spent some time on the UI.
Thank you.
All right. If there are no other comments, we're going to move to the next project. Thank you, Daryl.
Thank you.
Next up is Myel, and I'll let Thomas share his video.
Hey.
Hey, we're Myel, and our goal is to improve the content retrieval experience on the Filecoin network. So retrieval is the process by which a file stored on the Filecoin network is served to a client by a retrieval miner. And it's a crucial component of the network as it allows for people to access the data they've stored. But currently, it's hard for miners to collect payment for retrieval deals, even after successfully retrieving data for a client. So miners can only collect payment after a 12-hour period. And personally, we've had difficulties collecting these payments, resulting in us losing fill. To solve this, the Myel app automatically finds retrieval deals for our users and manages payment collection. So we take our users' payment channels as collateral for loans in more liquid coins, such as ETH or DAI, so that our users get paid immediately for retrieval. And currently, we're exploring solutions using multisig to enforce this collateral. So to get a behind-the-scenes view, once we've sourced a deal for one of our users, we trigger a function on a Myel loan contract on Ethereum. So this function uses a Chainlink node to query a Filecoin Lotus node, verifying that the newly executed retrieval deal is valid. And if the deal information passes this test, we hold the user's payment channel as collateral for an ETH or DAI loan. And this means that our users get paid immediately for retrieving. We'll now show you this process in a demo. And the first thing I'm going to do is to trigger a retrieval deal. And we'll cut some of the retrieval wait time out because creating a payment channel can take quite a long time. And so if all things go according to plan, my ETH address seen in MetaMask here should have more ETH in it by the end of this process. So let's go ahead and trigger that retrieval deal. So when that's completed, our user triggers a function on our ETH loan contract. This function takes in information about the new retrieval deal and triggers a job on our Chainlink node, which itself calls on an external Lotus node to verify that the deal information is valid and that we can safely issue a loan to our user. If the Chainlink node gives our loan contract the green light, our user should receive ETH immediately. And this is exactly what you can see happen in MetaMask. We've received ETH for executing this retrieval deal. And in the terminal, you can see all the steps that led to this. And I want to draw your attention to the payment channel here. This is created after a retrieval deal, and it's one of the core pieces of information that we use to verify that a deal is valid. And so behind MetaMask, you can see our Chainlink node. And if I reload this runs page, you're going to see this new job that was created just a minute ago. If I click on this job, you can see all the steps that led to the completion of the issuing of the loan. The very first of which is a post to our Lotus node. And the Chainlink job then processes the returned information so that the loan contract can decide whether or not to issue a loan. Thank you for listening.
This is super interesting. I like that you were trying to solve a problem that you were dealing with yourself. Trying to understand, so is it that you guys would be providing this ETH loan yourselves, or are you creating like a kind of peer-to-peer marketplace where others can provide that loan? And is there like interest on this? Like, how does that process look like?
Yeah, so I mean, it could be us, it could be others. We still need to work out some of the financial details so that it's favorable for someone to actually loan ETH in this scenario, because you're dealing with quite a volatile currency, right, which is Phil. So you obviously need to take that into account when you're loaning. But once we figure that out, it could definitely be directly peer-to-peer and then to provide basically that liquidity.
I can jump in. What, if any, current solutions are there for this? Or is this sort of the first solution?
Yeah, this is the very first, actually. Okay. And we're kind of, and behind this, we're also kind of pushing on making retrieval mining a bit easier for miners too, because it's quite an involved process. So even behind just like beyond like getting paid, just like executing retrieval deal is actually quite complex as well. So we're trying to streamline that too.
Do you think that that Filecoin could not implement this natively?
So actually, in their vision, they implemented the storage part, and this is the idea where you store on Filecoin and you retrieve, but then there's the room for this secondary retrieval market. And so our layer is like the hot storage. So it's more about retrieving content really fast. So there's room for actually many types of different markets where you can find content and find the peers that will be closest to you to retrieve from. And currently that Filecoin Protocol Labs has not implemented, and they want actually the community to implement different types of markets in order to decentralize this further. And so we're kind of the first implementation to do that. And so on top of our retrieval market, we want to make this whole process very easy and add better incentives. So there's less barriers of adoption for miners.
Yeah, and we've actually spoken directly with the Filecoin team to validate some of our assumptions, and this is something that they've supported in the way it's been implemented.
Really cool.
Another question is, there are no, just so I understand correctly, there are no funds actually moving cross-chain. This is just Chainlink. The Chainlink node is just transferring data, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I guess, what are your future plans after this? You've built a proof of concept, you've validated it, have you talked to many other kind of like operators with the same problems?
Well, so we actually are working right now on a simple kind of finder application where you can just exchange files. So it's really kind of like our first simple front end for this retrieval market. And the idea is we want to really focus on making this file sharing experience stable. And then once you actually onboard more people with an application who run those Myel nodes, then you get this layer where you can use as kind of like an API for any kind of dApp. So then dApps can just use our network to store any type of content and use Filecoin on top of it as a backend. So the data is stored on the long term on like a storage miner, and then is available on our market because of like a decentralized content delivery network. So we're basically like a decentralized Cloudflare or something like that.
Great. I think that's it for Q&A. Thanks, Thomas and Alex.
Great, thanks.
Next up is ellastikain.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Time. Today, we want to talk about our project and what problems we want to solve. Actually, the main idea is to help DApps scale fast and meet investors. And we want to establish a trust relationship between DApps creators and investors. What we actually doing is putting a platform where DApps creators could come in and put their MVP and explain their project, put a description. The sponsor could put prices. People will have the choice to vote for the app they want the most, and investors can step up anytime to invest. Once the winner is determined, he gonna receive the funding, but the smart contract will actually send him funding every time he complete a milestone. We want to showcase some DApps because the goal is to put the light on the DApps and make them more accessible to people. We want people to start using the apps because we think it's the next thing. We explain how it works from putting your MVP until finding an investor. And we share with you our philosophy. The team is coming from different countries, which is also great. Diversity always came up with great ideas. So let's just get started. I'm gonna just type the name. Here you can see all the categories. We have different categories, social, for example, sport. You can see the sponsors here. I'm gonna just go ahead and click on DeFi, for example. We can see different projects that put their that accessed this challenge, the DeFi challenge. We can see some descriptions. We can click more. So once here you can see the project, you can see the team, the number of votes, the number of interested investors, what this project is doing. You can even download the white paper. You can put a comment as well. And it's very interesting because we want people to be able to vote, to choose which app they want to see in the near future. And we want to give them this power. So in order to vote, it's very simple. You can just answer a few questions. We want to make sure people that are voting actually really want to vote for this project. For example, I can put anything. It's an amazing concept. I like it. We use the C app, the overall rating, and then you can vote, and the vote will be processed and added on the blockchain. On the other hand, people who create the apps will have like a different page. Of course, they cannot vote on their project, but they can still look at the funding status. Let's say this project had won, so he will have like receive 11% of the fund at the beginning. The smart contract will release the 32 funds after he complete a milestone, and the other 57 funds, for example, in the third, in the last part, the last.
Hello, I just want to take a moment to talk more instead of just showing the video. You guys can see me as well. Hello again. So the idea is like incubation based on milestone. So the idea is to help the apps like better manage the fund they get, and also give like this community engagement between users and future startups that are coming in. So we're giving the user the possibility to vote. So the idea also will have like this place where we can showcase like all the projects that are coming in, all the projects that are winning like prizes. Investors can also invest, and they will follow the same process, which is also by milestones. Well, that's pretty much the idea, and I will let you guys.
Have you checked out Giveth? So Giveth was like a very early project trying to basically figure out a way to create a system for projects to put up projects, I guess, needs of funding, and the funds would be, distributed on a milestone basis, right, by the community. And it's like, I'm not sure what the status is. I'm sure it's like still going, but it might be good to check them out again and understand like what issues they ran into. Right?
Yeah, I know that there is a lot of issues, that's why we want to make it like, we want to give more parameters. For example, even while choosing the winner, it could be directly by choosing the one who has like the most vote, or the sponsor can always have the hand to choose which winner, either to get the winner directly by default, or actually he can put on like which project will be winning the prize. So we know that there is a lot of problems, and we're trying to fix one on a time, I can say, and by giving more parameters for the sponsors, and also create that engagement. But yeah, I think there is other platforms that are trying to solve these problems, and that's what we're also trying to do.
I think the voting mechanism is really interesting for signaling to investors. Like, this is definitely a tool that I would use to look at interesting projects. And I know that like in the traditional tech space, Pioneer is a like a project that is kind of showcasing different work that people did from all around the world, and then people can vote on which one they liked, and then like the top voted ones end up doing like a demo day to like a huge group of investors. So I think it's a really cool concept.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it's really cool too. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
Oh, perfect, Peter. I was just about to link that. All right. I think if there are no more comments, we're going to move on to the next project.
Thank you.
Thanks for presenting.
Sure.
Hello, everybody. I'm trying to share.
Hello.
Let's. Okay, the video is a little bit longer than 4 minutes, so I'm going to stop it in the middle, if you guys don't mind. Hello, everyone. I want to introduce our project in this hackathon called Carbon Credit Project. As you can see, we are a diverse group of people from all over the world. As you can imagine, we had some challenges regarding coordination because we are living in different time zones. And also, all of us are pretty new to Ethereum and smart contracts, so it was a little bit challenging, but we eventually managed to deliver the project. My name is Sohail. I started the idea and collected the team together and worked with every individual. We had Abdullah Al-Qayyum, who was the front-end developer for us. We had Peter Andreetu, who was the back-end developer in this project. Here's the vision behind this project. We want to bring a carbon credit ecosystem on Ethereum. We're well aware that there are other attempts of doing that in the past, but our vision is different. We specifically want to target energy industry because we believe in the future energy industry has to comply with the new tighter regulations of carbon emission, and therefore they will be a big customer. We want to involve renewable energy producers or industry. We want to involve government and NGOs that produce carbon credits currently, and we want to have a certified network of validators that help us to validate these projects or the offsetting projects. The other components of this system is a tokenization mechanism that we put in place, and also we leveraged the recent development in the DeFi space, such as automated market maker, to create a market for carbon credits. Here's how it works. We have a registry to register verifiers, carbon credit holders, and customers on the blockchain. We initially want to transfer the physical carbon credits to Ethereum by tokenizing them, digitizing them. Hopefully in the future, we could have NGOs or government entities directly mint their carbon credits on the blockchain. There's a smart contract that does that job, mints and distribute carbon tokens, ERC20, based on these physical carbon credits. We created a balancer smart pool called Carbon DAI to strap in liquidity and creates a trading market and get a real-time pricing for our carbon token. Then we have another smart contract that burns carbon token for whoever wants to offset. This could be individual, could be an industry, to offset their carbon footprint. When they do that, as a certificate, we mint ERC721 tokens as NFTs for these individuals or companies to have a record of burning or offsetting their carbon. So that's the big vision behind it. Now we want to show you a demo of how this works.
So we have a carbon credit marketplace, and we have created a registration template for our three groups. One is carbon credit holders, another is customers, and another other groups are verifiers. So credit holders are the organizations who already hold the carbon credits in the emissions trading systems. Customers are the people who are interested in offsetting their carbon footprint through buying carbon credits and buying the carbon tokens. Another group is verifiers who validate their credits from credit holders. They verify carbon tokens, burn, and validate these things. So to register a carbon credit holder, we need the credit holder name, credit holder ID, how much credit does it hold, price per credit, and validative period, suppose 24 months. Once we add this credit holder, our MetaMask window, MetaMask confirms the transactions, and we find this list in our added list. So these are the
Right. So, sorry, everybody. We just submitted our video 7 minutes before the deadline. So it's just like we did not have really time to edit or anything. So we were a little bit longer than required. So one of the challenges that we had in the last minute was to use the balancer pool. We created the pool, but then our decimal was not standard decimal based on the balancer requirements. So we couldn't make the pool necessarily work, but now we have an idea how it works. And in the future, we are trying to fix that.
What are you using for articles? Sorry.
So we are, so at the moment, we are basically planning to manually import the carbon credits and mint them on the Ethereum. There's not automated way of doing it yet for us. I understand that's a big challenge we need to deal with in the future. Hopefully, the best way to do it is to get these entities to come on Ethereum and then mint them directly on the Ethereum. That would be a longer term goal, but we need to find a solution in the meantime. So that's the idea.
Just curious if there are different types of carbon credits, or is it just like one thing, or is there like the European carbon credit, the American, and there's like many where then balancer pools would be helpful to get all of those like together in the same market?
Exactly. So that was the reason we choose balancer pool, because at this point in time, the contract we written is for one carbon credit. We thought maybe there's different pricing. At this moment, there is no standard way anywhere. You know, European, as you said, there are different entities have their own carbon credits. California, as a state, has its own program and everything, right? So we might end up having different type of carbon credits, and the balancer pool help us to have, compared to Uniswap. These are the two protocols that we looked into. That's why we chose balancer over Uniswap, because it allows us to create one pool for everything.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to see something like this get actively used on Ethereum. So this is neat that you're working on it. Also, just wanted to say, I think it's awesome that it's such a global team, and then you guys are working and building on Ethereum. So it was really exciting to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed a lot, and my teammates also. So it's just our first pretty much interactions with this kind of hackathon.
Well done.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, what was just a quick question? What was the most interesting thing you came across if this is your first event?
So the most interesting thing for me was just connecting the front end and back end. That was, for me, in my mind, was completely impossible. I couldn't really wrap my head around it because I'm, again, very new, but having one person that has this expertise a little bit from the front end and back end and trying to connect, you know, we had several video calls trying to share the screens and understand what the other person is doing. So that was like challenging at the same time interesting to just have this communication.
Yeah, definitely. It can take a while to wrap your head around all the different parts of the ecosystem that are required to build. But yes. I'm not a dev, but from what I hear, it's getting a little bit better over time.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for presenting. Great project.
Thank you very much.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Jack? I'm just going to give a quick inventory. It looks like we have 4 projects left, so we're well on our way in the second half. I'll let you start, Jack.
Cool. Yeah, let me share the screen here. Share computer sound. Hopefully this works. Let me know if it doesn't work.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrew Rudnick, and I'm excited to share our ETHOnline hackathon submission, TwentyPay. The idea for TwentyPay is to improve the utility of ERC20 tokens by allowing users to purchase items on e-commerce stores through whatever tokens they own. When comparing our idea to current products, we've been thinking of it as a similar platform to Stripe, but for cryptocurrencies. This was inspired by our past experiences in crypto e-commerce. Currently, some platforms like the Brave and Kyber stores allow you to pay in a few different tokens, but these options are still limited and often require users to go through multiple transactions just to complete their purchase. TwentyPay aims to provide a one-click user experience where the buyer will select the token they want to use, and the TwentyPay platform will handle the necessary conversion for completing the purchase and send the purchase item back to the buyer. To show how this platform could look, we'll go through a quick demo of what we built.
Yeah, so we'll start off with a typical e-commerce looking experience. Let's say today we are interested in buying some crypto collectibles. Maybe we want to get this little Axie here for $5. So we can see that we now have the option to use ERC20 tokens to buy it. Let's do that. That'll take us to the widget, which will eventually be dropped in that e-commerce page. So here we are. We can see the seller is requesting DAI, 5 DAI for this item. We are going to go ahead and use some uni. Let's say we just got that airdrop. As you can see, it auto-populates how much uni it's going to cost. And then let's take a quick look at these MetaMask accounts. So we have 100 uni in our account. We're the buyer. Let's take a look at the merchant real quick. The merchant has 0 DAI in his account. So let's go back to the buyer and execute this transaction. You can see here, complete the purchase. And it's going to ask us for permission. We're going to confirm that. It's going to ask us for the gas to send the uni to the contract. We're going to confirm that. And then it's also going to ask us for the gas for the exchange swap to actually happen. We're going to confirm that as well. And then we should be able to look back in our account and see we now have about that much uni taken away. So we spent the uni, and we'll check on the merchant here, and we can see the merchant now has the 5 DAI in his account.
In order to gain access to more cryptocurrency types, TwentyPay leverages the 0x API to receive quotes, and then once the transaction is confirmed, the API performs the token swaps through a decentralized exchange identified by the API. Once the swap is complete, the TwentyPay smart contracts will complete the purchase and send the item back to the user. We are really proud of the progress we've made in the past 3 weeks, taking us from a vague idea to a functioning proof of concept, and already see so many ways we can improve the solution. In the near term, we want to improve the gas efficiency and build integrations with popular stores like Rarible and OpenSeas. In the longer term, we are excited to explore how this platform can be used by merchants as well. Also, an idea called Buy Now, Pay Later, which is a credit-based version of the platform. Thank you for your time. We look forward to continuing our build in the future and appreciate any feedback you have for us.
What do you think it's an immediate way to kind of like play with this and test it out, right? You know, yeah.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Okay, we're back. Sorry, can you say that again? What's the?
I was just asking, like, case? You know, my immediate thoughts were like, this sounds like something that would most likely be used like in an offline environment, but you know, I'm curious like how you think this might be used and just like played around with, you know, maybe like what's the initial like way to just like test it out, demo it, or you know, in a mock environment, mock use case.
Yeah, we're thinking a lot about that right now because obviously this can be taken in so many different directions from here. So we're thinking about there's some interest with people who are trying to promote a new token and maybe they want to spin up an e-commerce store and sell t-shirts and hats for it. And literally you can have people buy t-shirts and hats and also be buying that token on the back end and spending it, which is like another way to support the token. And there's a couple other cool twists to this, like being able to maybe use Aave on the back end and, you know, put in a certain token and not actually pay for it, and then have it come out the other side, you know, in a loan and pay for something. So we're still figuring out exactly what like niche we want to go after. The last 3 weeks, we've kind of just been making it work sort of thing. So that's a really good question. And we're still figuring that out, I guess.
How did you come up with the decision to use 0x API like as the tool for finding the best trade? And what have you considered otherwise, like other tools or aggregator APIs have you looked at?
Yeah, so we actually started out using Uniswap on the back end, and we were going to switch to 1inch, and we sort of looked at 1inch and 0x and did kind of, compared the features of each, which our backend guy could probably talk more about. But we decided also because 1inch and 0x were in the sponsors, so we're like, we might as well use a sponsor for the initial thing, and then we'll integrate with more dexes or more dex aggregators later on.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you.
I think this is a useful tool for people, and I could see it being used for online merchants. I guess like one thing, just from my experience when I was at Coinbase, there was this huge push like early on to get people to use Bitcoin for like payments, and one of the big challenges was just also like taxes and like being able to keep track of that. So just one thing to consider is like maybe either you guys work with somebody who's able to like, or recommend like, here's like a way to keep track of taxes for the merchant, or you guys are keeping track of that. Just something to consider, because that was like a big problem that people were running into.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think that comes into play more when you're doing like on-ramping and off-ramping from fiat, which we're not quite there yet. But
token to token trades are
oh, really?
taxable events. Yeah, and so you have to keep track of the initial purchase price of each.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. We definitely
Something to
need
consider. But I mean, for very small transactions, like I think in the future, like hopefully there won't be like taxable events in the US. There's like work being done on that, but that is something right now.
Yeah, okay, that's definitely something we need to get up to speed on then.
All right, I think that's right on time. Q&A is up.
Cool, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for presenting, Jack. Next up is Upala, Digital Identity. Peter, welcome back. I think we had you for either Hack Money or Hack Fest, maybe both.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'll let you start. Oh, wait, I'm playing the video for you.
Yep.
Sorry about that. Let me grab it.
Greetings humans, we are Upala, an anti-Sybil system for the apps and the decentralized identity of the future. Today there is no reliable way to tell humans apart from bots on Ethereum, neither there is on the traditional web. And in Upala we believe that over 1 billion people without any ID is a part of the same unique human problem. Existing solutions out there measure the probability of personhood in percents. We don't do that in Upala. Instead, our account score represents how much it would cost to forge this account. And we have dollars instead of percents. Let's see how it works. The first concept is a group. Users join a group, they put their deposits in a pool, and the group assigns scores to all of its users. Notice that the score here is higher than the deposit. And this is where the second concept comes in, Explosive Bots Protocol. It ensures that anyone can delete their ID at any time and grab an amount of money corresponding to their score. Here, a malicious user is able to get $10 from the pool. And sure enough, other members will feel betrayed, and they will not let this person in again. The third concept is stacking. The same way users join groups gather into hierarchies. Superior groups may require deposits from its subgroups and in turn add extra scores to their users. The same scores will be paid as a bot reward to an exploding attacker. Groups at the top may acquire large audiences this way, and they may then charge the apps for providing user scores to them. The last concept is paths. Both an attacker or a good user need a membership path through group hierarchy to prove their scores. These four concepts incentivize groups to gather large, low explosion risk audiences, and users are incentivized to get the highest scores for the lowest investment of money or reputation. And a market similar to insurance emerges, but instead of trading coverage for premium, in Upala, scores are traded for deposits. The user score then roughly represents the efforts needed to acquire such a score, or the price of forgery, and it is a very reliable metric for the apps to assess human uniqueness with. Upala is a protocol. A variety of identity systems can be built with it, like the one based on friendship or on DAO membership. It can even wrap over multiple identity systems or communities, enabling scores that are even higher than a black market cost of a state ID. So it has a potential to become a substitute for that. And yeah, that's our goal. But for now, we made this minimal, viable anti-Sybil system. The top group here is called Blade Runner, and it provides scores to the apps. The other groups are entry tests that auto-assign scores to members of existing communities. A universal basic income app requires a human uniqueness score above $5 to access rewards. So let's see how it works. Let's see our balance, our UBI balance. It's 0. Let's try to claim. We can. Now we need to register an ID and join some group to have a score. Now we have a score of 15 DAI, and we have an option to explode and run away with this amount of money, but we'd rather claim our universal basic income. So here we go. Right now our balance is 10 points, and so this is how it works. Thank you very much.
Great presentation.
Yeah, it was a great presentation. I'm curious, like, why would, I guess, from the perspective of like, another community member of a DAO, like, how would someone onboard everyone else into this sort of like, Sybil system, right? Like, how would I explain like everyone on board in here, we're going to trust each other, and then we're going to go trust other entities and communities, like what would be the main motivation for onboarding people into this stuff?
That's super cool question. For sure, for a system like that, there is a huge adoption gap, and there needs the main for the full-blown system, the main motivation is just to have a score. But when we don't have any app that uses this score, there is no motivation, right, to enter this. So I'm looking for platforms like Gitcoin, which are very interested in anti-Sybil system right now. So a good starting point, I think, right now is Gitcoin platform and onboarding their users and users of existing DAOs. So yeah, this is what I'm thinking of.
One recent kind of case study or lesson to learn was like, on XDAI, there was a project called HoneySwap, right? It's like fork of Uniswap of governance token. And it did this like distribution where you had to like sign up with Bright ID and then, and then go on XDAI and do the network change and such. And the fascinating thing was like this degen community found its way like, and discovered this idea of like, of HoneySwap. And they saw that they were giving tokens away for free. And of course, like this community basically helped one another onboard into Bright ID and then switch to, like XDAI, and this group was doing it altruistically, or like with a for-profit like motivation, but it was like they were helping one another get on this like lifeboat, right, if you will. So like it kind of it shows that like kind of need like definitely a monetary incentive. Like I think at least it's a strong driver, right, or FOMO of some sorts, right. I think like you need like that strong anchor there to like kind of onboard people into this.
Yeah, sure, thanks. And one of the participants here needed a anti-Sybil system as well. So probably it's a good place to start as well. Yeah.
I just think this is like a really important problem to work on in the space. So glad to see you're working on an anti-Sybil platform, and yeah, would love to like keep up with what you're doing. Do you plan on continuing work on this?
Sure. Yeah, I have big plans for that. I'm heading for the MVP right now. So for the testnet, first is the testnet deployment, and then upgradability, and then moving on to mainnet, and maybe first to Gitcoin and other things, as Peter mentioned.
Great. Yeah, this is an area I'm like particularly interested in. So like if helpful, like I'm more than happy to brainstorm. Like if you want to like DM me on Twitter or something, just putting it out there.
Sure. Yeah, I'm very interested.
Cool. Yeah.
Thanks.
I think I have no time for a question, but yeah, just wanted to say that it's a problem that a lot of us need help with, and yeah, we need a solution for that, or many solutions for Sybil attacks. And
yeah, to echo that, both Fernando and Linda, it's very, very early. I'm sure you're aware of this, but it's super early for identity solutions, and we're just starting to see, even though some of these projects have been in development for at least a year or a couple of years, some of them, they're just starting to get integrated into projects. So it's encouraging to see, unique takes on how this can be attacked, because it's going to be important as more and more value gets pulled into these systems. It's going to become a real big issue. So it's cool to see a unique approach to it. What would you say is the biggest weak spot of Upala? Where can it be broken?
As I see, and as was mentioned in one of these papers by Democracy Earth, probably you saw that one. The main nightmare for me is what I call a avalanche exit. So if we have a solid user base, and then people will eventually explode in avalanche and just drain all the system. So this is what I'm afraid of, but I don't think this is very realistic scenario. If we keep working, people will not do that.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah, my question definitely put us over time. So thank you, Peter, for presenting.
Thank you
always
very much.
Good to see progress.
Thanks.
Okay, this is the last project of the day. I'm excited. Ooh, Peter, the sun has come up.
I know. I like how you noticed it.
Yeah. So the final project is Erdstall, and they are promoted, I believe, and are ready to go. So I'll let them start.
All right, I'll start the video.
Welcome to Erdstall, the first trusted execution environment enhanced Plasma solution. Current rollups of Plasma solutions are great, but they either require complex cryptography or have a high user computational resources or frequent on-chain transactions, or have a moderate trust on the operator. Erdstall, on the other hand, provides all the features of rollups of Plasma while only requiring simple cryptography, little computational resources, only a single CPU, and only have rare on-chain transaction. We observe an amortized transaction cost of 0 gas per transaction, and we do not have any checkpoints. This is achieved by leveraging trusted execution features of modern CPUs. The architecture looks as follows. We have an operator, which is basically an untrusted message broker, message forwarder. And the users of the system first send a deposit transaction on an Ethereum smart contract. The operator has to forward all blocks to the TEE, and then the trusted execution environment verifies all blocks and then extracts deposits and also later withdrawal and exit statements from the users. The TEE then generates deposit proofs, which are then forwarded to the users. The users are then ready to transact in the system, sending transactions to the operator, who forwards those transactions to the TEE. And then the TEE verifies those, and at the end of each epoch generates balance proofs. The balance proofs are then forwarded to the users again. And if you're wondering if this is all secure, it's based on cryptographic research from the Chair of Applied Cryptography at TU Darmstadt, and the related paper is currently in submission. And now, demo time. Okay, so on the top left, you see a Ganache blockchain. And in the bottom left, we're going to start the operator. So when the operator starts, he deploys the contracts. So you can see here. So here we see a contract deployment transaction. Now we start the clients. So here are two different clients. And now you see here the command output. Here's some logging output regarding the blockchain and the epochs. And here is the operator status. So here we're first going to deposit 100 here and here as well. And now what's happening is that both clients send a deposit transaction here. You can see the contract calls. So here is a deposit of 100 ETH. And after a while, they receive a deposit proof and then the balance proof, and then the balance is updated here. And both users know that they have a balance of 100 in the system. Now here we can send, let's say 50 now, to the user at the bottom. Oh. And now what's happening is that this user received 50. Well, it was a quick update, but that's because only after an epoch is updated, you see the new balances. And in between epochs, the TE caches all the transactions, but you can still send many, many transactions within a single epoch. So now I'm going to run a benchmark. So here I will send 1,000 transactions. So here you see all the 1,000 transactions just happened. And here you see the stats. So this was actually 1,159 transactions per second, and those were immediately received by the operator, forwarded to the enclave. So the enclave is actually running inside of the operator because it's a trusted piece of hardware. And then the enclave verifies all those transactions and then finally sends back the balance proofs here again. So this is the final balance. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed Erdstall.
Yep, that was it.
This is a really great technical solution, I think. So curious, like what TE are you using? Are you using Intel SGX, and like what are?
Yeah, so Intel SGX would be the most easiest to use because the tooling around it, the SDKs and everything is very good for Intel SGX. But like the whole protocol and the concept and everything is very abstract. So you can also use it with any other TE solution, and you could even replace it by another, let's say, abstract third party, by, let's say, a committee of secure multi-party computation protocol users or something like this. But of course, as a very first example, the trusted execution environment is just a great, like, abstract trusted third party to use here. But like Intel SGX is definitely the first one we are supporting. Yeah.
Very cool.
Is it just useful for handling balances, or can you also do execution of smart contracts?
That's a very good question, actually. And the nice thing is you could quite easily offload a complete EVM into such a system like an SGX, and then really operate like similar to optimistic rollups. You can then really operate anything in the trusted enclave. Yeah, so that's also definitely something we are going to look into in the near future. But of course, for the hackathon, we were happy enough within 2 weeks to get this whole thing running and on balances. But yeah, we were quite happy with the whole performance, and everything was running quite nicely already. Yeah.
The proofs today for ZK snarks or ZK rollups, it takes like 20 minutes for a normal CPU or computer to create. Your new cryptography, is it faster, or how does it compare to existing ZK rollups?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the main bottleneck really here is how fast can the trusted execution environment verify signatures and generate signatures. So that's really the bottleneck here. So let's say you take a modern Intel CPU and you actually have many threads, several threads in an enclave, and then it actually could be like thousands of transactions that could be processed within this enclave. So it really scales very, very well. Yeah, so that's really the bottleneck. there's to be fair, a little caveat here. So when you put something into an enclave, you have a performance hit. So it's not like it's exactly like a modern Intel CPU. It's a bit slower because, for example, we have to take extra care if this is to run in production for having side channel resistance so we can protect against the operator. But in general, this can still be very fast. And also you don't need like super special hardware, like, GPU speed up the zero knowledge proofs or something, but it's really like a one consumer type Intel CPU, and it could scale quite significantly already. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks. Congrats.
Great. Any other comments? Or Sebastian, if you wanted to say something. Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, like, this is it's like based on very, very recent research from the Technical University of Darmstadt. So we're actually from a research group and doing a spin-off right now. Actually, we're into channels, so we are also the authors of the GoPro framework. But now we're also looking at other off-chain solutions because it's just very interesting. Since our research group was working on this, we just said, hey, let's just try to hack this for ETHOnline. So this is why we even came up with a solution before the paper's even out. So this is like really cutting edge research, but yeah, really looking forward where this is going.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see you building this, and like I think that really helps further the space. So awesome.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
I'll make sure to pass this on to Liam. I know he works with the state channels team. He'll be interested to see that. Great. That looks like time is up for this this presentation and actually the day as a whole. Let me make sure. We had a couple teams that were delayed. Okay, they're now canceled. So that means we are done. I want to thank everybody, all the hackers who worked for the past month on their projects. It's been amazing to see them develop from the start. We had idea validation sessions, people who are unsure of what they wanted to build, and then they really committed to it in the second week. And now we have some pretty amazing showcases. So I encourage you to all go to, I'm not going to remember the URL exactly, but it's the ETHOnline showcase where all the projects are listed. So if you haven't had a chance, go poke through there. You can see what everybody else has been working on. Other people have shared it in the Discord, and it's just a really great survey of the huge variety. I know there's a big DeFi focus, but we have other things like what we just saw, this off-chain scaling. There's personal tokens, all sorts of really interesting projects were built. So that is it for our session B ETHOnline judging. Thank you again, Peter, Fernando, Linda. You guys are a key part of this. We couldn't do without the judges who donate their time. So thank you. The only thing I have left to share is, so we have one more session that we need to do before we can actually reach out to finalists. So if you're a hacker still on the call and you're wondering, oh, am I a finalist? We will reach out to you, I think the latest by tomorrow. So just keep an eye out on the Discord and through email. We'll probably reach out through email if you're a finalist. And then we'll have some more instructions for Friday, which is the big finale where we have the 10 finalists come present to another judging panel on a live stream. And then we'll also hear from sponsors for which projects they're awarding their prizes to on Friday. That starts at 12. And you should have received a calendar invite. If you haven't, just reach out to an ETHGlobal team member in the Slack and we'll get you added to that calendar invite. So again, Friday at 12 noon, it's going to be pretty awesome. And then directly after that is our final ETHOnline summit. We've been having weekly summits every Friday in October. So Friday, just after the hackathon finale, is the Ethereum's Impact Summit. So we've got a bunch of great talks, including a fireside chat with Tyler Cowan and Vitalik Buterin. Okay, I'm done talking. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget about Friday. We'll see you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.